Report, December 5th, 2024. This one is entitled Martial Law in Korea. Why? Because we get things early before everybody else. Yeah, we got a little bit of open source intel says that they're worried about a second induction of martial law in Korea, but we also got a lot more. We got the over the 7.3 on the Richter scale earthquake in California, which thankfully didn't materialize into a tsunami. And we've got Hama getting taken by the HTS, which, hold on real quick. Al-Qaeda! Excuse me. The names, our sage people in intelligence have gotten intelligent by just switching names around for the same, people doing the same crappy things. So, it is what it is. It's all, there's a lot going on. So, anyway, more than that too. We're going to cover it all. Most comprehensive news on YouTube. Speaking of which, they're giving me the business. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an end of the year thing or whatever. They won't let me get past a certain number, and they're doing their usual stuff I used to piss and moan over. So just check your subscriptions and all that. I mean, I shouldn't lose 10 subscribers when I've got videos that have a 99% approval rating. So I don't know what their deal is or whatever, but it's nothing we aren't used to. It's the same crap. It's all done by computer algorithms and stuff. So at least in my research, I figured out. But just make sure that you're subscribed and make sure that you're still getting your notifications. I mean, every freaking video I put out, there's some person that says I didn't get notified. You won't get notified. You know why? Because what I'm doing is doing a good job. I'm getting it before everybody else. I've got my system down. I find it. I'm telling you, there are great channels out there. I'm not down talking them or anything like that, but they get their stuff and they're 12 to 24 hours behind me. So I don't know what butt hurt whoever in the background doesn't like it that we get it early here, but I'm not going to stop. So speaking of which, I'm back on Rumble. And I'm going to continue to go there more and more. Just know that this, if it ever just gets just stupid here, and it's been pretty good lately, but if it ever just gets stupid, I'll go over to Rumble. I'll throw the money down, and I'll pay the money and do it over there. I like doing it here. This has got a wider net, but I'll do whatever I have to do. But it's frustrating to provide a good product and just to see the stupidity that this platform puts some people through. So it is what it is. All right, so we're going to get started here on the Crisis Report. I would like to thank you all for joining us. Hit that subscribe button if you can. That's another thing. I'll get like reports in the background. Some lady will be like, hey, I used to have this function on your channel and now it's disabled and there's no reason for it. I don't disable anything. I'm not smart enough to go in there and tweak whatever to however to whoever. So if something goes on there and you're looking and it's like this function isn't there anymore or whatever, that is not on me. I don't know enough to do such things. So if that kind of crap's happening, that means something's going on in the background of this platform. So it is what it is. Howlin' Huskies, thank you very much. So, yeah, I put a video out on Rumble today. I'm gonna try and do more. I know I always say that, and then I get busy. So, just reminded today by the BS that Rumble does exist, and it might be a good place to go. Go over there sometimes and more. And that's the thing. I know I would eventually get things up and running and sustain it over there. So. All right, friends, let's get started here. It's 11 o'clock. We know where our intel is. It's here on the Crisis Report, December 5th, 2024. Here we go. Fighter jets over the Air Force attacked earlier today in a targeted manner and under the intelligence guidance of the Ayman, the Shin Bet, and the Southern Command, this is Israel, senior terrorists of the terrorist organization Hamas, who were engaged in terrorist activity in the humanitarian area of Khan Yunis. After the attack, secondary explosions were detected, indicating the presence of weapons in the area. Here we go. Whoosh. All right. Magnitude 5.8 earthquake in western Iran. After the Minister of Defense, commander of the South Korean Army, also submitted his resignation following the imposition of the military regime this week. According to the CIA World Factbook, the population in Gaza has increased by 2% since October 7, 2023. No intent or actions by Israel to conduct what they are accused of, according to this John Spencer on X. Just interesting. I don't know. I mean, who knows? They could be lying about it, but they're saying that the population has increased by 2%. Now, I don't know if that's people going there to fight or whatever, but it's an interesting story. So it's John Spencer on X if you want to go further. And, yeah, obviously we're in Amir Sarfati land. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad issued a special order yesterday increasing the salaries of Syrian soldiers by 50%. Assad wants to raise the morale amongst these soldiers, but does so in the form of one-time grant for only 1 month. After all, it's a waste of money on those who will be killed in the battles anyway, due to years of financial negligence and a lack of training and motivation. Correct. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has mobilized 3 army brigades and 2 PMF brigades to the Syrian border, stressing Iraq won't remain a spectator amid escalating regional conflicts. Syrian rebels have officially announced that they have entered the key city of Hama. Special helicopters landed on the outskirts of western Hama to evacuate Assad militia officers fleeing the city, fearing capture by Syrian opposition forces. Helicopters departed to an unknown location, leaving the remaining troops to their fate. Hama has fallen officially. Syrian Arab Army in a statement confirmed it with the withdrawal of the SAA units from Hama city to avoid putting the lives of civilians at risk, and will continue to fight outside the city. People of Hama were celebrating. The Syrian opposition forces were advancing in the city. Mass defections. Hundreds of Assad's forces joined the rebels. Hundreds of Assad regime soldiers, security personnel, and police defectors. Now again, this is all hearsay. I don't know if this is true. Are now registering with the rebels' interior ministry under the Salvation government. Occupation brought the Syrian rebels a reward in the form of a squadron of fighter jets at the Hama air base, which was also captured. So after the fall of Aleppo and Hama into rebel hands, all eyes are now on Homs, where the rebels have a long-standing score to settle with Hezbollah, not far from the border with Lebanon. Qusayr area, Hezbollah's stronghold. Will we now see a movement of Hezbollah operatives fleeing from Qusayr back to Lebanese territory? And what about Tartus and Damascus? Never a dull moment, according to Abu Ali. China calls on its citizens to leave Syria, effective immediately. Kind of changing, putting it there that big things are going on. It's done after 9 offensive by Syrian rebels starting from 2011 to 2024. Hamas city has fallen to the rebels. HTS leader Jelani says that his fighters are now moving into Hama city to take control of the city. Hama military airport under control of the rebels. 191. Okay, so YouTube, when I get done with you and it says I've only got like 100 views on this, we all know that you're lying. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad will formally ask Iran, I love that, for the military assistance to fight the rebel onslaught. Can you imagine being one of these blue hair freaks? Thank God I'm not. Nasrallah, Haniyeh, Sinwar, dead, Hezbollah crippled, Hamas hiding. Now, after a week, Aleppo and Hama fall. Assad is on the brink of collapse, and everything is going into madness. Now, we'll see. there are supposedly going to be Russian. Well, I think I should be in Aquila land. Aquila said it best. He said, if you think that Russia is just going to let Tartus fall, then you got another thing coming. Russia is going to go full-throated. And I have a quote from Putin earlier where he basically said, if you think you think we're playing around, we're not. Syrian rebel HTS fighters are moving into Salamiyah right now as we speak. Lebanese army is redeploying additional units to the eastern Lebanese-Syria border following the fall of Hama. Iraq, Iran, and Syrian FM's foreign ministers will meet in Baghdad tomorrow. Natural catastrophes caused estimates $310 billion in economic losses in 2024. Joyner urging the United States to stop sending wrong signals over Taiwan after Lai Johnson call. Ukraine rejects U.S. call to lower the draft age, senior Kiev officials have said. French presidency confirms resignation of Michel Barnier as the prime minister. Lots of problems going on in France. Not a lot of news or anything, but basically Macron has said that he's not going anywhere. Turkey's Erdogan says Syrian leader Assad must urgently find civil war solution. DR Congo on maximum alert over unknown deadly disease. We have an interesting development later on coming up here. I'm going to tell you about something that's kind of crazy going on in Ohio. Might be linked to that. Muhammad is the most popular name for baby boys in 2023 in the United Kingdom. Only 6% of federal workers report in person on a full-time basis, according to a Senate report. Awesome. I feel so giving, so wonderful. I hope they have a wonderful, free, not that much work involved life that you and I get to pay for. Local residents are fleeing Homs. And now this is Aquila. This is what he said. He said, mark my words, okay? And by the way, Aquila doesn't have a YouTube channel. He's got a Telegram channel. And it's sometimes spotty, but when something major's going on and he's chiming in, my Lord, man. You guys remember 1980s that E.F. Hutton? When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. This dude, like when he talks, man, I'm all ears. I want to know because he's gotten so many things right and called it well before everybody else. But he said Russia is going to go all out politically and militarily to avoid the Syrian rebels from splintering the Tartus and Latakia region. Russians need the Mediterranean to keep its presence in the Middle East. Russia is fighting for its survival in the region. By the way, another thing, if this goes away, if there ever happened a crisis report, I have a super secret backup channel. I did a video today. I do about one a week there. If you would like to know, in my mods, you can put it in, but then delete it after about 2 minutes. It is the Global Intel channel. Okay, so youtube.com/@ Global Intel channel, just as it would sound. Going over and subscribe there. That is on a burner phone and everything else. I've got 3 EMP bags, so it's never tied to me in any kind of a geofencing type thing. I mean, I'm full on, yeah. So if you are into it, go subscribe over there. I'm over 500. I'd like to get to 1,000. Once that happens, I'm going to go a little bit more full bore over there. But if anything were to happen here, I would take this entire process. This would go to that YouTube channel and get started up again. So I'm just slowly building that up and having the infrastructure there. So if anything were to happen, I could go there. So, and here in a minute, nose picking. Thanks for putting it up there, my brother. You can take that sucker down. And if you are looking for that link, well, Global Intel channel, pump it into the old YouTubes, and you should be able to find it. It's not as hindered or jacked up like my other stuff because some person in the background doesn't like what I'm doing. Mark my words, Russia's going to go full out politically, militarily, avoid the Syrian rebels from splintering the Tartus and Latakia region. Russians need the Mediterranean to keep its presence in the Middle East. Russia is fighting for its survival in the region. I give some analysis, a little 6-minute video today on that on the Global Intel channel. Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr has urged Iraq and Shia militants to refrain from engaging in the conflict in Syria. Excuse me. All three branches of the Israeli defense infrastructure have been placed on alert following developments in Syria. Netanyahu and the Israeli Security Cabinet will be holding an emergency meeting. For those who forgot, Putin updated Russia's nuclear doctrine just before things went up in flame in Syria. The updated version included use of conventional weapons against any entity in any place of the world where Russia and its interests are threatened. So that would be Tartus, that could be Ukraine, you name it. They can chuck them up if they want to. We will establish a buffer zone inside Syria and the Golan Heights if Homs falls, according to Israel. Israel is basically getting ready for the fall of the Assad regime. U.S. is running consultation with regional partners regarding the potential collapse of the Assad regime in Syria. Israel and the United States say they have indications of a definite collapse of the Syrian army's defense lines, Israeli army radio has said. Same ominous warning was issued during the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, and within the next week, Kabul fell. And this is exactly why we love Aquila, because think of that perspective right there. It is true. Same rhyming of history is going on. The United States is preparing for all possible scenarios, including evacuation of its troops stationed in Syria. You gotta remember, we got bases there. The Israeli government is preparing for the imminent collapse of the Assad regime. Locals in Homs say the Syrian army has already withdrawn most of its forces, already in preparations for a rebel takeover. Israeli airstrikes have been reported in Aleppo. And back to France, the resignation of the French Prime Minister was preceded on Thursday by mass demonstrations across the country, including in Paris. And those who don't know the history, the French can protest better than anyone. The yellow jackets, or whatever the heck they were called, yellow vests, from years ago, very interesting protesters there. They were protesting labor and all that kind of stuff. But once COVID hit, they kind of chilled out. But I'm sure the protesting abilities of the French are going to go into full swing. Thousands of public sector workers took to the streets in the capital. They are unhappy with the government's austerity budget, which was expected to be adopted for 2025. According to media reports, employees are complaining about low salaries and layoffs. Resignation of Barnier and cabinet could have eased the situation. This means that instead of the proposed 2025 budget, the current conditions will continue to apply. But de facto, little has changed. Employees are still wary of the government's policies and are afraid that things will only get worse. They will. Demonstrators chanted, "Macron, resign," and the slogans on their posters expressed contempt for the country's leadership. I wonder why. Russia's jets trying everything to stop the Syrian rebel onslaught. Russian jets conducted an airstrike on Rastan Bridge in the road between Hama and Homs. Second major quake was reported today. It was a 7.0, 99 kilometers west-southwest, Ferndale, California. It is just above the San Francisco region. A lot of people got concerned. Issued a tsunami warning and all that, but thankfully it didn't materialize. Multiple earthquakes struck Northern California, including a preliminary 7.0 off Ferndale and in 5.8 in Cobb, California, another one. Tsunami warnings were issued from Santa Cruz, California to Florence, Oregon, but thankfully that didn't materialize. Russia and the United States are not officially at war, but hybrid war is being waged against Moscow, according to Lavrov in his super, can't wait to listen to it, interview with Tucker Carlson, which a lot of people have been talking about as of late. Ukraine air raid alarm in Kiev and the region amid reports of Russian Tu-95 MS nuclear-capable bombers in the operation cruise missiles in the airspace of Ukraine in the direction of the central regions. Why I have you guys, too, on Sunday, I'm going to set it after I get done here. I'm going to get it set up. 5 wise men of prepping. I'm going to have Hudson Valley Preparedness and Survival. I'm going to have Prepper Dog. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Prepper Dog's videos. One of my favorites. We're going to have Modern Refugee, another great, just straight prepper, does good stuff, but also super down-to-earth, common sense dude. And then, let's see, we got one more. Roaming Prepper will be there as well. Another super smart dude who I've done live streams with before. So get ready. Sunday. We're going to be doing that. And it's going to be awesome. So I'm super looking forward to it, and I will put up the links for all that when it happens. It'll be on PrepperNow, my OG main channel. So be looking for it. Ukraine air raid alarm. Kiev region reports of Russian Tu-95 MS nuclear-capable bombers, cruise missiles in the airspace of Ukraine, direction of the central region. Resignation of the government in France casts doubt on military supplies to Ukraine, according to Reuters. Russian Navy launched overnight missiles from warship off the coast of Tartus, Syria, on jihadists in Idlib. Intensive clashes between HTS and Syrian Arab Army, or SAA, in the northern outskirts of Hama continued all night last night. Unconfirmed report says that Kim Yong-hyun, Minister of National Defense of South Korea, is on the run to leave the country. Kim Yong-hyun overseas flight is confirmed. He is a key witness and subordinate of President Yoon Suk-yeol. Treason. Yeah. We request an immediate ban on leaving the country. All citizens and the media should prevent him from leaving the country at all airports and ports in South Korea. Trump's team showed little interest in Ukraine's NATO membership in a meeting with Yermak ahead of the office of President of Ukraine. We're very close to making Donald Trump's goal of quickly ending this war in Ukraine a reality, according to the Hungarian foreign minister. Chief of the General Staff of Russian Armed Forces, Gerasimov, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States Armed Forces, Brown, discussed several security issues by telephone today. Putin and Lukashenko will meet in Minsk on Friday, and they will hold a meeting of the Supreme State Council of the Union State and a separate meeting as well. Particular attention will be paid to issues of strengthening the common defense space of Russia and Belarus. French army now has ammunition for only 2 months of war, according to OPEX 360. French army of neighboring country Britain will be destroyed in 6 to 12 months in the event of a major war with Russia by the standards of their ammunition. SANA, that's the Syrian news agency. After a political struggle, the 9 heads of the Executive Council, along with the 10 top leaders of the Syrian tribes, agreed to send an official request for military assistance from Iran. Moldova, state of emergency declared in the energy sector, and the minister was fired. There you go. Moldova, state of emergency declared in the energy sector, and the ministry was fired. Prime Minister of the country warned about the probable partial or complete cessation of energy supplies. Russian army launched something towards Odessa on the border with Moldova, where an emergency shot down in the energy sector took place. Yes, you read that right. That's some broken English. Russia does not want to attack anyone. It was the U.S. that attacked Russia with the hands of the Ukrainian regime. That is Lavrov. Translation, now others will be attacked. Diplomatic resolution. Melbourne synagogue has been firebombed overnight. Australian Prime Minister Albanese condemned the attack. Turkey is sending more troops and equipment to northern Syria, especially Aleppo. Bashar al-Assad, Syrian president, and his close associates have possibly left for Russia. Unknown. Flight radar shows that something official, some plane, has flown back. French President Macron, the MPs, or members of parliament, who ousted the government, only think about the prospect of a new presidential election. I will carry out my full mandate as president. Okay. They don't want you, and you're going to get your full mandate. Go get her in. Israel indirectly helped the Assad regime. Rut-row. Israel struck weapon stockpiles southeast of Aleppo, still under Assad's control. To prevent from the falling into rebel hands. This marks its first airstrike linked to the recent rebel offensive aimed at safeguarding Israeli interests without direct involvement. Iraqi parliament has authorized the prime minister to take part in the operation against the terrorists in Syria. Foreign ministers of Syria, Iraq, and Iran will meet in Baghdad tomorrow to hold an urgent discussion regarding Syria, according to sources, possibility of joint military intervention. Bomb threat was reported in the Minnesota home of the United Healthcare CEO, Mr. Brian Thompson. Brian Thompson, just 12 hours after he was fatally shot in Midtown Manhattan. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's suspected shooter used a fake New Jersey identification to check into hotel or his hostel. New York City's Democratic Mayor Eric Adams announced that he will meet with President Trump, incoming border czar Tom Homan, next week to discuss the deportation of illegal immigrants. Canada banned 324 more firearms, announcing that confiscated weapons will be redirected towards Ukraine as needed. Ouch. While speaking at a democracy forum, Obama claimed the Republicans are responsible for the election chicanery and weaponizing the justice system. Okay. Sure. Situation in Syria continues to evolve rapidly with significant changes on the ground. We've updated the map to reflect the current status of all factions involved in this complex conflict. This visual will help you closely see the shifting control and ongoing clashes as of today. It is a dramatic turn of events. Rebel forces have gained control of the Akirbat area. According to Moments, HTS, or Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, their chief, Muhammad al-Julani, has announced full control over the city of Hama. In a statement, he urged rebel fighters to confirm their revenge against Assad sympathizers, signaling an attempt to stabilize the newly captured territories. Sorry. All right. Prime Minister Netanyahu is currently convening a discussion about the developments in Syria with the heads of the security establishment following the city of Hama's fall on the rebels today, or fall to the rebels. Israel, there is surprise at the rapid rate of progress by the rebels and their occupation of the city of Hama within a few hours. There is also surprise at Russia's relative lack of involvement. This was not this has not been bombing villages, which has not been bombing villages in Syria as extensively as it did nearly a decade ago when it saved the Assad regime from collapse. Such a sordid history. Israel is preparing for the possibility that Assad's regime might collapse. Further, Israel is preparing the potential Iranian government attempts to establish a significantly stronger presence in Syria by deploying Iranian forces and advancing weaponry, a security source told IDF radio. Last thing Israel wants is Syria to fall into the Iranian hands. We will continue to act and prevent this from happening. As a reminder of reports from Syria tonight indicated an Israeli attack targeted advanced weapons southeast of Aleppo. It was, I believe, a guy with a machine gun or something like that. So, another trend identified by the security establishment is that Hezbollah is shifting to focus from Lebanon to Syria, transferring forces there. Additionally, Hezbollah has lost capabilities and military equipment intended for them, which instead fell in the hands of rebels. And so Iran must not be allowed to strengthen its foothold in Syria. Where was I? Oh, there we are. Reports in Syria, an Israeli attack a short time ago at one of the border crossings between Syria and Lebanon in the Al-Qusayr area. According to the reports, the JASE crossing was attacked with 3 missiles from the air. And I recall Israel attacks the border crossings between Syria and Lebanon in order to prevent the smuggling of ammunition into the hands of Hezbollah. In addition, another Israeli attack was reported in Lebanon tonight, much north of the Litani River, in an area about 7 kilometers from the Israeli border in the eastern sector. Vladimir Putin's very, very serious. He is angry, and he said to the point, he's telling his own officials, his own government workers to be mobilized, to be in the game, and to be in the fight, to be present, essentially. Russia is completely preparing for a very serious escalation, a very serious battle as we move closer to World War III, and it certainly won't become, and it certainly is becoming World War Z. Emergency General Meeting, 11:30 a.m. local time for the Democratic Party of Korea. Why? Well, Military Human Rights Center says that Army Commander's Vacation Control suspects second martial law. Army has received commander emergency call-up instructions raising fears of a second martial law call. A patient with full flu symptoms has been placed in isolation in the UH, that's University Health, St. John Medical Center in Ohio. He came from Tanzania. They don't know what's going on with this guy, but they're locking it down. So, bird flu, oh, we see you. And the Ukraine-Russia war. Ukrainian ground forces launched a successful counterattack in the village of Novaya Komar, which was recently captured by the Russians. Counterattack enabled the Ukrainians to regain control of a supply route in the direction of Velika Novosilka. Northwest of Kharkov, the Russians continue to advance in the village of Stary Turini. Ukrainian sources now report an operational encirclement of Kharkov due to the limited logistical possibilities. According to the 46th Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, it is currently not possible to supply the troops in Kharkov via the ground. Withdrawal is currently out of the question for political reasons, according to the 46th Brigade. Toretsk in Ukraine's defense is collapsing. Russians are able to capture large parts of the mine and take control of the high-rise buildings in the central center of Toretsk. Loss of the mine means that the city is likely to fall as well. And the Chasiv Yar, the first geolocations show that the Russians have achieved their first successes in the industrial area. And in Chasiv Yar, the first geologists found that the Russians have... Oh, yeah, we got that. That's a doubler. Hezbollah Secretary General, we in Hezbollah will stand alongside Syria to thwart its aggression. Opposition protests continue for the 8th night in the Georgian capital of Tbilisi, following the suspension of EU succession talks. And, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So, Lavrov, it is a mistake for anyone in the West to suggest that Russia has no red lines. So that's your crisis report. Okay? November. Oh, God, what is it? November 9th. No, 5th. December? I can't remember. December 5th, 2024. Oh, man, we got a lot going on. Got a birthday this weekend, man. I got a teenager now. Holy Lord. So I'm kind of all over the place. That's why I'm kind of giddy, but still needing to go get my rest. Friends, if you're new here, please hit that like button. Last night, I had like 170, 180 people in the room, and they said only like 300 people watched the videos, which, I mean, if you know anything about the tube, that is horse to the you-know-what. So we're getting the business here. Counteract it. Help us. So, hit that like button to the subscribe thing. Follow me on Gab, on Twitter, on Minds, on X. Follow me on Subscribestar and Locals. And follow me here. All PrepperNow, all the time, folks. All right, guys. We're going to go to bed, get a big weekend, partying. God bless. Stack, stock, stick to the plan. Keep it swimming. Your powder dry. We appreciate you coming by. Crisis Report. We'll see you tomorrow on the next one.